Hey, folks, it is October the 8th, and today we are going to talk about the first half of chapter 14 out of our book, and this has to do with some of the beginning of the Peloponnesian War between Athens and Sparta, and of course, all of their allies. So, giving the class a couple more minutes to read over it. I'm going to put the terms on the board. We'll begin.
Did Sparta actually fight like this?
Kinda, yeah. Yeah, they sometimes they wouldn't wear armor. Sometimes they wore like really thick canvas.
They remind me of Captain Underpants.
I guess that makes sense. Of course, those movies were supposed. I never watched 300, but I heard it was kind of grossly inaccurate in a lot of ways. So, I mean, I get it. I get the appeal. Just never wanted to watch it. All right, folks. Now, we didn't finish our textbook on the reading of the last one, but we're going to talk about it more tomorrow. So we have Corcyra, Sparta after Sparta attacks Athens, plague, Mytilene, and Plataea. So I want you to spend a few minutes discussing with your neighbors about things we have up here, and then we'll get started. So I'm going to give you a few minutes. You may begin. There you go. All right. Hey, go ahead, folks. Turn to your neighbor and discuss the topics up on top. So go right ahead.
Plague.
Okay.
I feel like my voice therapist. Yeah. I do it. They all tried. But still, rip my voice therapist. When I dropped Pericles dying, there. He's just lying there. These kind of looks like a dismembered hand.
What the Peloponnesian Peninsula? What? I don't know what part you're talking about.
It just looks like a hand.
Okay.
Not all of the Greeks.
Yeah, I guess I could see the fingers. I mean, kind of like a really grotesque, like
The
Don't-
top part looks like a mammoth egg.
it's like a lesson on why you don't put your hand in a blender, I guess.
It's all bone fragments.
And in a minute, so y'all could like discuss it a little more, because that would be nice to talk with your neighbors about what you read, in case you're confused.
Why do they name themselves Persians? Remember Persians like cats?
I'm not sure if that's even what they called themselves.
Cats after the Persians. What?
There you go.
The Persians didn't name themselves after cats.
They might have called themselves something else. That's one thing I'm not really sure if they even called themselves Persians. That might have been like a name that we attached to them later. I mean, that happens sometimes. Because the Greeks didn't call themselves Greeks. They called themselves the Hellas.
Persia looks foreign. Look, it looks like a
Say what?
sandcastle.
The Khorasan. Or is that a different one?
See again?
Why not?
I don't get it.
What was it called?
I had to Google it.
Why not?
Because I just have a doubt they called themselves that. Because the Greeks didn't call themselves Greeks. Yeah.
It looks like a sandcastle.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing about ancient ruins. They look very plain. They're bleached.
But Athens doesn't look like that.
Yeah. But I mean, if you use your imagination, if you think about how it might look with a little paint, or like some like tapestries and stuff, and some decorations and artwork, like doors.
Look at Athens. Athens looks so much cooler.
Why it is known for having a lot of tourists, right? A lot of it has to do with the aesthetics. Hey folks, so yes, we see up here Peloponnesian Wars. This is like a long war. Look at that, 431 BC to 404 BC. That's a long time. So that's like enough time for somebody to be born, grow up, and then fight and die in the war. So, God, I've heard of something like that going on right now. So, yeah, this was a long, essentially a multi-generational conflict.
Did I get the room already?
Yeah, later. So, yeah, buckle up, Buttercup. All right. So here we have Athens and its allies is in the gold. We have Sparta and their allies in the red. And here we have also outlined Athenian victories and Spartan victories. Essentially, Sparta's going to win the war. But when they win the war, they're going to be so weakened that they're going to lose their status as the chief power in Greece. So we're going to see it's actually going to be a place called Thebes for a little while, and that's going to be Macedonia. And then the Greeks are basically just going to be divided ever since. I mean, not like they were really ever united, but you know. So, all right, so let's see, next image. Yeah, Athens will have plague. So like your book says, the Athenians were pulled into the city walls for protection against the Spartans.
Sparta is interesting.
But the thing is,
Why are you touching a baby if there's a plague?
Where? Oh,
well, it looks like he's mourning, right? I mean, and the thing is, this is before germ theory. So people weren't sure what caused diseases and stuff like that. They thought it was divine. This plague's going to be... So yeah, they bring in all the farmers, all the workers, all the people into the city walls. They're all living in close
It might have been
confines.
from like the livestock.
Well, actually, they found out it was historians believe it was from shipments of food, since the farmers weren't going out growing the food. Remember, this is about a 30-year war. They're having to import it. And they believe it actually came by boat, and sailors brought it in who were shipping in food and grain. And then it spread throughout the population. It's going to be a big plague. It's going to kill 25% of the city. And so that's going to be a huge huge loss for the Athenians. That's going to be one of the reasons why they're going to lose the war. Another is that they spent so much time abusing their allies, is they're going to find they don't have that many friends whenever things get tough.
Well,
Yeah. So yeah, that's like, yeah, be careful how you treat people.
Do they get sick and they just walk out of their house and fall over?
yeah.
Oh,
Is that
this
what they're doing?
This is an idyllic painting, right? So this is like a late Renaissance painting of an artist's interpretation. And what he's trying to capture here is like just the mourning and the tragedy of it.
And they're just carrying dead bodies.
There's like someone who described the symptoms of the victim.
Uh,
It just sounds like a normal sickness. It's like fever, redness, and from the eyes, sore throat, sneezing.
Jose, you gotta stay in your seat over there, bud.
Loss of
Can you put that back?
voice, coughing, vomiting.
Yeah, see, it sounds like more kind of like a flu. Yeah, it can be deadly. Flu can be deadly, especially aging people. This wasn't like the bubonic plague you're going to have later on in the late Middle Ages to the Renaissance and beyond, where you would have like these giant like black purple zits bust on people and it's gonna sting.
What's
It's like gross
typhoid
stuff.
fever?
So what?
Typhoid fever.
Typhoid fever.
You get typhoid.
Yes. Hey. Anybody want lunch? So I had two already, right?
What's for
B lunch? All of y'all, are all y'all B lunch?
A?
All of y'all are A? You're A too? So five A lunches?
5 A lunches. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Typhoid fever. I don't remember. I know it's pretty deadly. Like, I've looked it up before, but I honestly don't remember. But yeah, this plague's gonna be super deadly. It's gonna kill their leader, Pericles. And some say that maybe the Athenians wouldn't have got as cruel as they will later on in the war if it wasn't for the death of Pericles. And here's the guy who's going to replace him. He's a guy called Cleon. And Cleon is known for being somebody who's going to be a demagogue like Pericles. But instead of just hoping to make Athens into a great city, he's also known for voting to make sure that the war expanded, that their former allies are punished, and that their enemies are punished as well. So he's known for his cruelty. Right?
It says it's
Why is it so wide?
Nah, I guess
it
he
says
just.
it's a bacterial disease that's caused with food and water.
Oh, that makes sense. So yeah, like I know like people who do like missionary work and stuff like that in third world countries. The first thing to say is like even vegetables and stuff. You got to make sure that you really cook it well. You like the water. You got to be careful because there's like bacteria like that and cholera all over everything. Yeah, I don't know why it's so wide. It might just be how the picture's framed out. Sometimes whenever I put a picture on slides, it'll kind of change whether it's wide or narrow to fit the screen, you know?
Yeah.
You could always just put the picture on top of the slide.
I could. The thing is, it's with Google Slides, it's you have less options like for editing and stuff than PowerPoint. Like I used to just use PowerPoint because I used to use it on the desktop, and my desktop would let me use PowerPoint. Because the Chromebooks, I can use PowerPoint, but I can't use the program. I can only use like the web browser one, and that doesn't have a lot of options. Like I got PowerPoint at home, and it's awesome. I can do all kinds of stuff with transitions, and images, and all kinds of stuff, but I can't do
Can't
it.
you download it or something?
No, because I don't have a lot of permissions for what apps and stuff I can put on here and programs. It's not my Chromebook, so.
Or you could just like save the document and put it on USB drive using a Chromebook.
I can, but sometimes even sometimes when I do that, it comes up with error messages, like it doesn't want to play it. So it just, yeah, so then it's like, do you want to convert this to Google Slides? No, I will if I have to. So yeah, it can be a pain in the rump.
Okay. Their uniform was pretty cool.
The Athens,
This is like different,
yeah, different city states have different styles.
there's like Spartan, Athens. I don't know what what language this is. If it is
Huh?
English. Some of it I can tell because it's Spanish.
Yeah, what we normally think of as the Greek helm with like the eyes and like little mouth slit here. That's known as the Corinthian helm because they were really famous for that one. Different Greeks. A lot of Greeks in history didn't have what we think of as like normal Greek armor, kind of like the Romans. What we normally think of like Roman legionnaire armor wasn't used throughout the whole Roman Empire or Republic period.
They had different uniforms because this one says Marine, like Marine.
Yeah, because a lot of their naval battles was whenever they would collide boats, they would have a little like drawbridge plank go, and then they have Marines go on the other
And
boat and fight.
then, and then they had an official, like,
Yeah, like the officers,
and the Marines would be blue and the
so they could hide in the water. No. Hey, folks, let's go ahead and begin. So, what's the deal with Coursera? So, who were they at first? Who were they a colony of?
who was what?
Who was the mother city of Coursera? This is going to be
Corinth.
Corinth. Yeah. So this is a colony. Remember, I told you colonies were expected to be friends of the mother city, and so that means one day, a long time ago, Corinthians had too many people or some reason like that, and they sent people to go live in this area and found a new city, and they have a pact to be friends. So yeah. Colony of Corinth. And Corinth is a powerful city on the Peloponnesian Peninsula who are friends of Sparta. And they don't live like Spartans. They're still very powerful. And what did they have that was valuable? They had a large
Fleet. Ships.
fleet. Yeah. Had a large fleet. And Corinth wanted that fleet. Coursera didn't want to give it up. So what did they do?
Thought.
Yeah, so
Is it CORC? Was that
wait, which word?
the one that you're like, not right, but like, no, it's the definition.
CORCYRA. So Corinth battled them for the fleet, for control of the fleet, because they also, the city was at a good point where if Athens was in control of it or allied with it, they would have a good point to launch an attack against Sparta. Everybody knew a war was going to happen someday. It's kind of like there's one of those things they say, like people who were around before World War I and before World War II or before the Civil War, they know the war's coming. There's just something like everyone's able to tell from all the rhetoric and all the news and stuff like that, that something's coming, so they're getting ready. So people are able to read the signs, it's like common sense. People knew that Sparta and Athens were going to have war, and this city would be important. Coursera would be important. So Corinth wants to control it so they can add to their fleet and have a stronger navy and a stronger position. Athens wants it so that they can have the same. So, what do they ask Athens?
Can we join your league?
Yeah. So they asked Athens to join the league, the Delian League. And so, what does Athens decide to do?
Just send ships to protect them instead of actually fighting.
Yeah. So Athens sent 10 ships to defend. But what did they wind up getting into?
They ended up fighting them anyway.
Yeah.
They got the offense.
Yeah.
They killed a bunch of people.
But but they fought Corinth. So like, hey, we're just here to keep the peace. These guys.
Oh no, murder.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's like a playground fight, right? There's two kids fighting, and one kid sees his friends losing, so instead of watching, he jumps in, and so now there's like 2 against 1, and so
And then this one jump in.
exactly, it's just like that. It's human nature.
Just turned into a whole fight between everyone.
So this starts the war. This is really the start of the war. This is the event. Now, it wasn't immediate. It's the Peloponnesian War. This isn't immediate. Sparta's then like, wait, what's happening here? Maybe we could just kind of have like legal action against Athens. Maybe the cities can come together and be like, hey, you guys, you owe us like fines or something like that. And so Sparta has envoys down there, and Sparta, here's what the Athenians are saying. So Sparta decides if there's going to be a war, right? They're like, it's on. The Athenians, they're talking up crazy stuff. We can't trust them. And so Sparta attacks Athens. So what happens when Sparta comes to Athens?
They just like burn the crops and then they leave because of the wall.
Yeah, so like the Athenians
They aren't that smart.
go behind the walls. This is what happened last time they fought. Sparta burned up all the countryside, Athens hid behind the walls, and then it was over.
Who won that one? I forget.
It was neutral. It was like, stalemate. They made the Peace of Pericles, which was supposed to last 30 years, but it only lasts like half that time. And so, Sparta,
Couldn't get it. Get it.
burned down the countryside.
It would have been hilarious if they figured out how to get through the walls.
Well, yeah, right. But remember, they made like the best walls that you could imagine during that time period. And they had 2 harbors that were well protected with a powerful navy, so they could get boats in and out as they pleased. They could get their navy in and out to go attack other cities. They could help their merchants come in and out to bring in food and sell stuff. And they had a lot of money in supply.
Yeah, couldn't Sparta shut it on the port?
You think they could, but the Navy could stop them. And they also had good defenses on the walls too, like in catapults, like archers and stuff. So whenever Sparta would try to do that, if they tried to do something like swim through the water, they couldn't be protected. Yes,
Sparta wasn't smart enough to create catapults.
no, they weren't. Yeah, see, that's the thing. They didn't have the
It was just
technology.
bows, right?
Yeah,
And spears through the wall, right?
Yeah.
No,
And they thought it was-
ladders.
Because they're so hyper traditional, they couldn't even think outside the box like that. Like they were just like, there's a wall. Oh, let's hope that they open it up one day. Didn't
I
happen.
can just really imagine.
They didn't
someone
use
running up-
bows, right? Because they thought it was.
Sorry, what were you saying again?
I can just imagine some angry man running up there and hitting a sword.
You know, the sword.
And then getting shot by a bow.
Yeah, I guess you'd be pretty frustrated. What were you
The
saying?
Spartans used bows.
No, they had their allies do that for them. So like,
They thought it was like cowardly, right?
yeah, so they had some cavalry, like for some of their fighters. But yeah, if they were to use like projectiles and stuff, they would use conscripts, like their allied cities. They'd be like, hey, you're not as strong as us, so bring your bows to help out.
Did they use slings more than bows?
Now, early on, slings were used, yeah, but bows are going to start to take over a lot of the warfare as far as like using them.
The Romans were slingers on.
A bit, and they're going to use, but even the Romans, they're going to use conscripts. They have archers as well,
Yeah, the Balearics and Islanders.
and some other people too. But yeah, it's usually foreigners they bring in to use the bows and things like that, and of course like their spears, the pilums were made to be thrown too. So that was one of their tactics. So we got that, and then we got the plague. Spaghetti-O. So what does the plague do?
It kills everyone inside the walls, mostly everyone.
Yeah, so Athenians get an illness food shipments. And since they're all crowded, it doesn't help out. Killed 25%.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people. Like, imagine like 1 out of every 4 people just gone. Who's the big person that it kills?
Parables.
Yeah, Pericles. It's Pericles died, leaving Cleon as the new leader. Uh-oh. And he is a cruel dude. He just wants
Is that
to
bad?
slaughter his enemies.
That's a cool name.
Leon?
Sounds like neon.
I was thinking like a cleaning product. Is that you spray under the toilet, get rid of some crust or something like that.
Right, neon. Oh, you're trying to shiny and clean.
All right, so Mytilene. So this was a city. So who attacks this city?
Sparta.
Mm-mm.
Athens.
Yeah, Athens.
It's like it's a 50-50 chance. Ooh, what's this thing?
Yeah. So attacked by Athens.
For some reason, I always think it's Sparta who's attacking.
Why did Athens attack them?
Because
They had navy.
Because they wanted to.
Because they revolted.
Yeah, for revolting. They're like, we're tired of this war. We want to be out of this. They tried to leave the league.
Pobrecitos.
They're tired of having their money taken. They're tired of fighting a war they didn't ask for. Now, this is one of the famous stories that has to do with why ancient people throughout most of our history in the West said that democracy was an evil thing. It's the Mytilene story. So, Athens wins. And then after they won, they sent a boat home requesting their democratic government, what do we do next? What did Cleon suggest they do?
Kill everyone.
Yes.
It's kind of his thing.
Cleon convinced this assembly that's their democratic body to slay all the men.
And sell everyone else.
And enslave others. Yeah. And so this was their friends. All they wanted was freedom. Freedom to be their own city again. Tired of being robbed. And they said, fine, if you don't want to give us money, we're going to kill everybody and sell your children off to be like weirdos off in the rest of the world. And so this is like, whoa, hold up there. So one person, all he's got to do is stand up on the stage and just give a little speech. And everybody's like, yeah, it sounds like a good idea. Let's do it. And they all raise their hand. And then the Athenians sleep on it. So they have a nice power nap. They wake up and they realize, oh, shoot, we made a mistake. So what do?
They try to go over there and stop them, but it's like you've already killed like half the people.
Yeah. Next day, Athens changed its mind. And this is where they said democracies are fickle. So what we're saying is fickle is you can't make your mind up. You keep going one way to the other. Changed its mind. And spared most of the city.
Right by the time they've already killed almost everyone.
Yeah, the leaders. Yeah, so they killed like 1,000 of its leaders, right? They're like, hey, you're the guys who were in charge. And then they kicked everybody out of the city. They're like, here, you're all homeless. Get out of here. We're going to give this to Athenians. So then they kicked people out of their homes and they gave it to Athenian people. Like, these are nice houses. They're ours, are. So,
This is why I would go live in the forest and stay away from all the cities.
okay.
Except it's full of
So-
things that they.
Plataea is also going to, who's Plataea going to be attacked by?
Sparta.
Yeah, so it's going to be attacked by Sparta. We're going
Dang it.
Yes. But one time you don't answer.
to,
You answered it.
and this we're going to end off with today, because when we come back tomorrow, we're going to see what the Spartans do that's pretty cruel to these people.
Yeah.
So,
everyone?
something like that. So yeah, we're going to see that both sides are getting exceedingly cruel. So, and it's going to be criticized later on, like in Renaissance and stuff like that in Europe. They're like, wow, democracy sure has some weaknesses, and they sure are cruel. And look how bad civil wars are. When there's a civil war, people just try to wipe out everybody, and that's pretty true in civil wars throughout the world. Everywhere from like Europe, Africa, South America, and sometimes they can last like several generations. It's like they don't end. Like even in like Eastern Europe, you'll have people who have vendettas, and they've just been killing one another for hundreds of years. They don't even remember why it started. So it's really terrible. It's really terrible. That's why you got to be very sober and very mature when it comes to your decisions for going to war. You don't just do it for like little nonsense reasons, right?
So is that it?
That's it for today. All right, kids, we're going to end the lecture for today. We will come back tomorrow and talk about the rest of the chapter and more on the Peloponnesian War and all that good stuff. Talk to you later, kids. Oh yeah, and tomorrow we're going to find out